In the early hours of February 24th, 2020, a 911 call came in from a townhouse in Winter Park, Florida. A man was unresponsive, inside a suitcase. The woman who made that call told dispatchers it was an accident, a game, hide and seek gone wrong. What she did not mention was that she had filmed the night before, and in that footage, you can hear her laughing. This is the story of Sarah Boone and the hours that turned a joke into a homicide. By February of 2020, Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres Jr. had been together for years. It was not a quiet relationship. Court records show a documented history of domestic violence arrests between them, on both sides, stretching back to at least 2018. Boone had been arrested once, accusing Torres. Torres had been arrested more than once, accusing Boone. Whatever was happening between them, it was not new, and it was not simple. On the night of February 23rd, the two of them were drinking, heavily by Boone's own account. At some point, the night turned into a game, hide and seek, and at some point, hiding turned into something else, an idea that felt in the moment like a joke, that climbing inside a suitcase would be funny. According to Boone, Torres climbed in voluntarily. She zipped it shut. Two of his fingers, she would later say, were left sticking out through the seam, which meant, in her mind, that he could free himself any time he wanted to. He did not free himself. What happened over the next several hours, we do not have to guess at, because Sarah Boone recorded it. Two videos were later recovered from her phone. In them, you can hear Jorge Torres pleading, telling her he can't breathe, asking more than once to be let out. And you can hear Sarah Boone laughing. At one point on the recording, she tells him, "That's what I feel like when you cheat on me." She does not open the bag. Instead, by her own account, she goes upstairs and falls asleep. By the time she checks on him again, hours have passed. Jorge Torres is no longer breathing. In forensic psychology, there's a term for what allows a person to cause harm without feeling in the moment like they're doing something wrong. It's called moral disengagement. It is not the absence of conscience, it is conscience quietly redirected. You can watch it happen piece by piece in how Sarah Boone described that night. First, euphemistic labeling. It wasn't violence, it was a game. Second, displacement of responsibility. He climbed in himself. She only zipped the bag. Third, distortion of consequence. His fingers were out. He could have gotten out any time he chose. And fourth, the mechanism that surfaces later in her own trial testimony when a prosecutor asks her directly why she never opened that suitcase. She answers that she wanted him to understand how she felt, so maybe he could progress and be a better person. Notice what that sentence does. It does not deny what happened, it reframes it. Suffocation, recast as a lesson he needed to learn. This is moral justification, the fourth mechanism. And psychologically, it may be the most dangerous one, because it doesn't require convincing anyone else. It only requires convincing yourself. Once. That pattern did not stay inside one bedroom. It followed Sarah Boone into the courtroom for years. Over the course of her case, 8 different court-appointed attorneys withdrew from representing her. At one hearing, representing herself, she submitted a letter to the judge. Inside, it was a hand-drawn advertisement for a lawyer. Eventually, the judge ruled that she had forfeited her right to a court-appointed attorney altogether. Before trial, prosecutors had offered her a plea deal, 15 years, with the possibility of parole in as few as 4. She rejected it. It's a strange thing to watch the same dynamic that played out inside a suitcase on one night in 2020 repeat itself for years inside a system built to be neutral. A need to control the story, even when the only person left to convince is the one who will decide the verdict. Boone's trial finally began in October of 2024, after years of delay. Prosecutors told the jury that Torres weighed barely 100 pounds at the time of his death, small enough, they argued, to make real resistance almost impossible. The defense argued something else entirely, that Boone herself had suffered years of abuse at Torres's hands, and that what kept that suitcase zipped was fear, not cruelty. The jury heard both sides. They deliberated for a little over an hour. On October 25th, 2024, Sarah Boone was found guilty of second-degree murder. That December, she was sentenced to life in prison. At sentencing, Jorge Torres' mother, Blanca, stood before the court. She said simply that Boone had not only killed her son, she had killed a father, a brother, an uncle. His daughter described him as one of a kind, a hidden gem, taken from his family far too soon. Sarah Boone also spoke. For nearly 20 minutes, she said she forgives herself for falling in love with a monster. Even there, in her final words to the court, the reframing continues. Not, I caused this, but I survived loving someone capable of this. The suitcase is sealed evidence now, filed away in an Orange County courthouse. But the question it leaves behind isn't really about what happened inside it. It's about how easily a mind can convince itself that cruelty wearing the mask of justice stops being cruelty at all.